have a ginormous zit on my chin right there. Look at it now and then look away. Hi guys, this is Sophia from my great challenge, coming back from work. I'm a hot mess. This is what I look like when I come back from work. Maskne, have you heard about it? Yeah, it's acne as a result of masks, wearing masks, and this one is like, holy, okay. Anyway, I'm doing McCall's M7838. You are in my happy place, soon to be happier, because I'm still working in it. Look at me. I'm in my own little corner. You remember that? What was it, like Stephen Sondheim? I think it's Cinderella? I'm not sure. Anyway, here I am in my own little corner with nothing behind me because I'm cleaning up the room. I'm doing this. Today we're doing the sleeves. If you're just joining me now, I am not a professional seamstress. I am teaching myself how to sew. This is basically the third garment I make. The first one was a robe, flannel robe, which turned out pretty good. You know what? I haven't worn it since I tried it because it was too tight on me, but now that I've lost quite a bit of weight, I bet you it fits me nice. I made a tunic, which was a little tight over here, but I've lost some more weight still since, so it's probably fitting me now. I gotta go fetch it. But right now I'm making view D, which is this one right here. I'm making the sleeves. I've already made them. I'm gonna try them on so you can see what it looks like. I'm trying to stay away from the camera as much as I can because, you know, it's ridiculous. I have no shame. I don't care. All right, don't tell me you never had a huge pimple before. So yeah, let's make this. The sleeves are not too difficult to make. My biggest concern was whether or not they were going to fit me. I was thinking about actually cutting the fabric again in a larger size for this part here of the sleeve. You'll see that the sleeve is in two parts. There's an upper sleeve and a bottom sleeve, which is a bell. And I thought about cutting it bigger so that I would have more you know, room for this part here, but turns out that I didn't need to. I actually fit in them, so yeah, non-scale victory. Let's get started. We are making the sleeve. I'll see you again when I try it on. So here's my shirt so far, and I just want to give a correction from last time. Okay, so if you followed, you remember I ended up having to do all of this here by hand, right? Didn't have to. I realize, and thanks to you guys for correcting me, that's why I love doing this on YouTube. What they meant by leaving the neck open was just this part right here. So that way you can adjust it, move it forward, moving back, you know, in case it doesn't get straight to the edges here. So technically I could have gone with the machine and sewn the collar and this part here, the collar band, all the way to here, and same thing here at the bottom, all the way to the edges, and then I would have just had to do this by hand. That's it. So now when I do the second shirt or any color afterwards, I know how to do it. So yeah, I ended up doing it by hand because I didn't understand what they meant, but that's what happens when you are a beginner and you are learning. So what are we doing today? Today we are doing the sleeves. So you'll notice when you look at your pattern, you know, you have your regular pattern and then you'll have your regular pattern and then it will say something like view A. All right, view A is not what we're doing, okay? We're doing view D. So you got to go back, continue until you find view D, and that would be this step right here. So the next step is step 29, ease stitch upper edge of upper sleeve between the notches. All right, so I'm looking at the graphic here and going on a zoom here. To me, it doesn't look like easing, it looks like gathering. So I'm going to gather. So this is the top of my sleeve. This is basically the round of the shoulder right here, and this is going to go at the underarm right here. So they want you to e-stitch, I'm going to call it gather, between the notches. So if you look at, and that's the reason why I want a white background so you can see it, or maybe you want even less, I don't know. I have a double stitch, I have a double notch here and a single notch there, and if you remember, those indicate the front and the back of where the sleeve goes. And from what I've learned in the previous videos doing the tunique, what you want to do is the 2 row of gather, and you want to do it where the seam allowance is right in between. So if I put my 5/8 of an inch right here, I want to have a row of stitches here and a row of stitches there. So second row, and remember you want to leave a tail of thread on both sides. So the next one is going to be just about here. So planting my needle, and I'm leaving about 6 inches of thread because they're going to get pulled. That's how I'm going to do the gather. And 2. Okay, so I have this done for both of them. What's the next step? The next step is number 30, stitch the sleeve seam. Pretty easy, right? Put it right side against right side, fold it this way, and right here where the armpit is, basically you do a 5/8 of an inch allowance, straight seam from here to here. So I just finished number 30, stitch the sleeve seam, and again if I go to the next one, that would be for view C. You can see that, right? So I need to go back and find view D, which is not here, it is right here. View D, number 39, stitch the lower sleeves at the seam, gather the upper edge of the lower sleeve. So we all know what to do now, right? Because doing a seam and gathering, we've been doing that for a while. So here is the bottom part of my sleeve. Remember, that's the bell, right? So I'm going to put it right side to right side like this, matching the notches. I have notches right there, you can see that, okay? And this is going to be sewn right here, 5/8 of an inch. And then once I have the seam done and I have pressed it open, right, I'm going to gather here. So I'll do the same stitches I've done over here, right, to gather. I'll do them here as well. Not on the wide part of the bell, that's the bottom, on the narrow part of the bell right here. So I have my 2 bell sleeves done. Each of them has been sewn in the length. Each of them has the gathering done on the top, and I have flattened the seam. You can see that, so I have that on 2 of them. And the next step is number 40, and for this one we're going to make a 5/8 or 1.5 centimeter narrow hem on the lower edge of the lower sleeve, easing the fullness as necessary. So I have my little measure thing, sewing knitting gauge. I'm going to put it at 5/8, and basically what I need to do is fold this. Let's do it this way instead. Okay, so I'm going to fold it at 5/8. Okay, except that it's got to be folded inside again. So once I have the lower edge here, I'm going to fold this onto it and fold it back. Let me do a close-up so I can show you what I'm doing. And that's going to be pressed, and then you can stitch it. I'm going to take my gauge. I'm going to move this at 5/8. Then you can take the edges here and then you flatten it if you want. Okay, so it gives you kind of like a hem already. All right, but then I'm going to unfold it and I'm going to fold over on the inside again and then go back to where I had it at 5/8. All right, so technically I'm removing 5/8, but I have the edges rolled inside, and this is going to get stitched. So they're not specifying the type of stitching that they want. On the graph they have the stitch right here on the inner edge, not on the outer edge, so I guess that's what I'll do. So you can see here that I gave it a good press all around. It's again folded onto itself, so I'm just going to go ahead on the machine and do a straight line, a little bit closer to the inner edge than the outer edge. So this is what the edges look like. Maybe on the dark purple you can see the stitching. And on the inside, this is what it looks like. So I'm going to show you the seam right here. That's the seam. This is where I started and ended. So ideally you want to end and start on the same line. You don't want one above the other. So I think I did pretty good. I'm going to press this and do the next sleeve. So now I'm ready to move along with the assembly of the sleeve, which is basically adding the upper sleeve part right here to this part right there. And here it is for view C and D, if you remember. Pin the lower sleeve to the upper sleeve. The lower sleeve is the bell. Matching notches and seams. Adjust the gather, baste, stitch, stitch again at 1/4 of an inch or 6 millimeter away in seam allowance, trim close to stitching and turn the seam towards the sleeve. So how do we do this? Well, I'm going to insert, I'm going to put this right side out and I'm going to insert it into the sleeve. Don't need this on my fingers right now. Now this part here is going to be the inside alongside my waist, all right? And this is the armpit. So this basically goes here, inside this way, all right? So let me just give you a quick look. If I unfold it this way and I'm holding it here. Do you see what I mean? So you have the sleeve going this way with the armpit right here. Okay, so remember you put one tube. So remember you put one tube into the other with the armpit, which is the shortest part of the upper sleeve, facing this. So we're going to start by pinning this together seam to seam. I have all those red threads here that are my basting, but we're going to do seam to seam. Okay, I have one. I need to fit basically this one in here, so all of this needs to be gathered. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull on my threads. So I'm going to grab my 2 threads here where I gathered, and I'm going to pull, and you see what happens? You'll probably see it on the other side better. And I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to grab my 2 threads and gather until I have approximately the right size, and then I'm going to move my gather around so I can disperse my little folds and my little pleats evenly. All around, and I should have just about the right size. And what I do is that I put my fingers in here. Let me remove that so you can see, and I'm trying to get it to fit like this. All right, so most of my gather is pretty much right where I need it to be. Now I gotta match the notch I have here. You see it? The top of my bell sleeve should have a notch too, so I'm gonna match these here. I'm gonna pin that. Avoiding folds. There we go. Okay. So these 2 here need to be together. So now I have too much of a gap here, so I'm just going to pull on the gather a little bit. I'm going to hold it and move the folds around it, and this one is pretty good. So I'm ready to baste. I'm going to baste this together, and once I'm satisfied with the way this is holding together, I'm just going to go ahead and baste. So I have everything basted, and what I do once it's basted is I just go like this in my circle, and I kind of respread everything because it's basted anyway, but it helps restretching everything and putting everything together. So I'm ready to sew. Remember, we're doing 5/8 of an inch from the edges. I removed the part of the machine that's right here, this part here. All right, so you can remove that. If you've noticed, on the machine I also have the table. That's for the quilting. I decided to remove it so that we have more space here. So you just take your sleeve and you insert it directly onto this piece right here. Okay, so the advantage of doing that is that you can roll your sleeve. So let me start by sewing a few stitches forward and backward right here at the seam. I start at the seam because this is where I want the strength. When I'm done, a couple of inches backward and done. The next step is to go back exactly where we left, and instead of being at 5/8, we're going to do another row of stitching away from the seam line, and I'm going to do it at about maybe 1/4 of an inch. And same thing, backward, forward, and off we go. So that's basically done, and then the next step is to trim down almost to that second row. We're basically removing a lot of the bulk that's going to be on the upper arm. I'm not removing a lot, you can see that, but I'm right above that second row of stitches. So I've pulled the upper sleeve back out, because the next step now, I still have, oh, that's part of the basing here, because the next step now is to basically take that seam we just created, we're going to fold it down towards the bottom part of the sleeve. You just unfold it. You can press it too if you want. Alright, so this is going down. Like this. And I still have a little bit of red thread here. So I'm just going to go ahead and press this, and then I'll be ready to attach the sleeve to the body. So we're moving on to number 42 with the right sides together. Pin the sleeve into the armhole, matching the symbols, that's pretty much the notches and dots that we've marked earlier. Adjust the ease, baste stitch, stitch again at 1/4 of an inch. That's exactly the same thing we did with the bottom part of the sleeve, or at least the middle, what I just did basically. Away in seam allowance, trim close to the stitching, and then press seam allowance flat, turn the seam allowance towards the sleeve. Okay, so let's go. So let's do this. What I've done is place my sleeve, which this is the part we just did, and I have it right side out. I'm just going to place it flat on the table like this, and I'm going to take my shirt and I'm going to keep the inside, the wrong side, towards me. So that's what they mean by right side to right side. I'm going to take the armhole right here, and with my hands in the armhole I'm going to look for the bottom part of the sleeve, which is the short end, and I'm going to immediately look for the seam, which is right here, and I'm going to match those seams right here, because they have to be continuous. You don't want the armhole to have a seam going one way and the other going the other way. So just go ahead and pin this. Alright, the next one I'm looking for is the dot that we marked right here, and that dot goes exactly on the shoulder seam right here. You remember when we did the yoke inside? Okay, the shoulder seam is right there. So I'm going to look for my seam and place the dot on it, and pin that. So now my sleeve basically has to fit in this hole, and the best way to do it, since it seems to be a little bit bigger, is again I'm taking the 2 threads from my gather. Remember when we did the 2 threads earlier? I'm going to pull those a little bit, and I'm going to pull them on the other side as well. Now if you remember, on the sleeve itself we have notches. I have a double notch here and a double notch here, so we're going to match these. And in the front, I should have a single notch. So I'm going to match that one too. Right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and baste all of this, and we're doing the same process. We're going to do one row of stitches at 5/8 of an inch, and then go back to it, do another one 1/4 of an inch away from that, trim the excess, and that will be it. And we'll have 2 sleeves put together. So here we go. I have a shirt now with 2 sleeves. I'm pretty sure you guys want to see what it looks like and whether or not it fits, right? Even though I don't have the buttons on yet. Why is it not turning? I don't know. All right, so let's try it on. Here's sleeve. Here are the sleeves, and they're not done. They still have to have the tie that goes here, and then all I need to do are the buttons. So let's try it on. Alright, so here we go. It's looking awfully dark in here. I'm going to put a little pin right, well, I don't really need to. I'm going to put a pin right here. Hopefully I won't poke myself, so you can see what it looks like. Alright, so the shirt fits me, and here are the sleeve. The shirt fits me, alright. I thought I had done the wrong size. All I did was measure the bust here, which is 41 for me. Is it bad in the back? I'm under construction, alright, so this is what it looks like. These are the sleeve. Let's get a little bit closer. I have plenty room. I have plenty room on this side as well. Alright, so it's always going to do things like that, okay? Because this is, you know, it's not fitted to all of my measurement, and this, for some reason, I can't get it to stay close. Alright, so all I need to do now, how do you like it? Why is this not staying? Oh, forget it. I'm not going to do it. Alright, so anyway, it closes all, it's going to close, oh, I can't jump, I have a low ceiling. It's going to close all the way down. You see, I get plenty room for it. This is very comfortable. I did it as a size 14. I'm actually between the 10 and the 12 right now. So it's pretty nicely fitted. I don't really like the bulk here, but I'm assuming that once I put the buttons on, it's gonna look much better. Nice room here. I don't feel tight at all. It's the perfect length. I can't really do Fu Manchu with it, can I? No, not really. Okay, isn't it cool? I made this. All right, it's not done. We still have the ties and the buttons, so that's gonna be next Friday. Tomorrow I'm spending time in this room to fix it up. I have all the accessories I need, and what else am I gonna do? I have to do the video for Monday. That's going to be the painting of the house, so you won't see me sewing again until next Friday. What do you guys think? And I may go to the pool tomorrow, and the pool is that way. I'm sorry, this is ridiculous. I love it. Yes, I do. I think it looks really nice. I don't want to get too close because of this, and then everybody's going to be like, it's disgusting. Okay. This is nice. This is nice. I don't see any issue here, maybe here, but I'm not redoing it. But anyway, what do you think of this shirt? Do you like it? I like it. I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye. Hey, it's me, and guess what? Click that thumbs up if you really like this video. Thumbs down twice if you didn't. You can also share my video if you really liked it, or save it to watch later. Also, you can subscribe to my channel, but don't forget to click that bell button so you are always notified when I post a new video. Thank you for watching.